Alright folks, welcome back to Moonshine Radio here. Today you're looking at the spectrum analyzer display of one of the new Siglent spectrum analyzers. Has a nice little feature that allows us to use a web browser to control it and show us the display. So it makes it real easy to record a video for you all so that you can follow along and become an RF expert just like Dr. Moonshine. Alright, back to business. What are we looking at here? Well, it looks like we got some signal at 100 megahertz, and as you can see, it's kind of choppy and doesn't look too good. So it's clearly some kind of pulsed modulated signal. And you know, it'd be really nice if we could look at this thing with like amplitude versus time. Yeah, we could go get a crystal detector and put it to a scope and yada yada yada, but isn't there a way that the SpecAn can do that for us? And the answer, of course, is yes. It's something called zero span. So what we do is we go into the span menu, and then we we click zero span right there. See, I clicked it, and now, just like magic, the y-axis is power and the x-axis is time. So that's pretty darn nice. Now, one thing I should have you draw your attention to down here is something called this RBW, resolution bandwidth. Now, when you're doing this kind of stuff, you want to make sure that's going to be greater than the modulation bandwidth. So since that's a pulsed signal, I think we're going to make that a little bit bigger. So we click that there, and then we click that, and we'll make it like 5 megahertz. Oh, looks like I can't do 5 megahertz. It only lets me do 3 megahertz, but good enough. Alright, so it looks really choppy, and let's see if we can clean that up by setting our trigger. We want to trigger it. There you go, I clicked a button. And we want to trigger it on what's called a video trigger. And it looks like it did it, but let's set that to a -10. Okay. Alright, so now you see it's triggering on the pulse. Looks pretty nice. We've got a nice pulse width there. We can go ahead and add a marker if we want. Go ahead and add a marker and move that around there, and you know, looks like the pulse width is about 40 microseconds or so, as we see up there. Now, we're only sweeping here, it says we're only sweeping 75 mics. So we can increase that. We got to go into the sweep. That's in setting. And then there's the sweep button. And we'll go ahead and change that. We'll make that about 2 milliseconds. Alright, there you go. Now you see the nice pulses. Ain't that kind of nice? And now we can go back to our marker there and see what's going on. We can just kind of drag him, I guess. Yeah, look at that. So you can kind of see there that you got a PRI of about 500 microseconds. So that's pretty darn nice. So it looks like your pulse width is about 40 mics and the PRI is about 50 mics. So we'll figure that all out thanks to zero span on the spectrum analyzer. And then we can also put it right up at the pulse there, and we see the peak power of the pulse is about -1.8 dBm. So zero span is a very popular mode. It lets us see the peak power of the pulse, lets us measure the pulse width, and it lets us even measure the PRI. Well, that's it for now, folks. Thanks for watching Moonshine Radio, and now you can pretend that you're smart. Bye-bye.